Now we're going to be talking to Vicky in a little while about the Rose of Tralee. Any thoughts about the Rose of Tralee being cancelled? Please let us know. 083 333 975. Maybe people will have their own virtual Rose of Tralee competition. You wouldn't know. Quite a few callers have been in touch already about the 3 issue. That's the mobile phone company. Thank you everybody for texting in. A caller, a number of texters say 3 sent an email on Sunday and a number of texts to say they were updating their systems this week and to top up. That's why that person is having problems. Tony also confirmed that as well. Another person texted the same thing. And Nikki has texted us in, Damien, I have to correct your caller about taxis at checkpoints. As being a taxi driver, we do get stopped like everyone else, and the passengers are asked the same questions also. Nikki, thank you very much for that. That's really important to say. Good morning, Damien. I thought when this lockdown started, the guards and extra guards who were recruited would be stopping everywhere, every day, not waiting for bank holidays to come around or do it in specific times. Now, there have been some checkpoints. Obviously, they're not able to keep the level of checkpoints up in the same degree. But that's why we'll see. Another texter, I think you should have a teacher on. They haven't stopped working. They all are working online with pupils every day and still have to attend meetings online. I'd love to have some teachers online. Please, I'd love to get some teachers on to talk about what they're doing during the day. Another caller, why are people ringing in about teachers? They can't do anything about their situation, and those fellas in the Dáil are still getting full pay and doing nothing. Another texter texted me to say he says that he was told by a teacher that they're going to take their holidays in June, and that's basically going to be it. There won't be 2 weeks in July before the Leaving Cert for students to go back. Let us know what you think, please. I can't top up for my dad who's cocooning, says that person, and that is the 3 issue again. Now, the housing and accommodation crisis, I suppose, for asylum seekers, it has in Ireland become a €1 billion industry. The Examiner's been doing some very good reports on this in the last while. Government records available up until 2017 show that since the first contracts were signed in the year 2000, 20 years ago, the total bill for the 17 years amounts to €1.1 billion, with one family business receiving almost 140 million from the state. Now, as you know, the direct provision system, it's mired in controversy, criticised by human rights organisations, politicians of all persuasions, and has been labelled the next mother and baby home scandal. One of those politicians who's been critical of it over the last while is Aidan O'Riordan from the Labour Party. Aidan, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks very much for joining us. Are you in a shed out the back, or where are you?
I am actually sitting in the back garden. You can be honest about these things. Previously, you had to pretend you were in a studio somewhere or somewhere very important. But no, most of these things are done in the back garden. But everybody working inside the house and a 2-year-old running around the place, it's safe space to go out the back garden and chat to people.
You've had a busy couple of months. How do you feel after Alan Kelly won the leadership? Were you happy you went for it now afterwards? And what's your thoughts?
I was happy that we did it. I mean, what we didn't want to happen was, on the day of the results, that you'd regret having done it at all. Straight out of a general election, straight into a leadership election. I suppose Alan has probably been plotting and planning this for a few years. We just had a few days to think about it. So we got 45% of the membership in the end, which was a incredible result. Happy enough with that. The campaign was kind of halted, obviously, by the restrictions. Two of the hustings debates were cancelled. An awful lot of the momentum that we were building up was kind of lost. But it became difficult to ring people asking about the Labour leadership as members when they were fearing for their own health and their own safety. Yeah. And, so it became a little bit surreal for a time, but it's resolved now.
Puts things in perspective, yeah. So is he a bit of a schemer then, if he was plotting and planning for years, do you think? Is Alan Kelly a bit of a schemer?
I know. I think look, Alan's ambitions for leadership are well known.
Of course.
He said in 2016 he would have run. It wasn't something that necessarily that crossed my mind. My job for the last number of years was to get elected in Dublin Bay North as the TD. So I did that, and I ran for the leadership. I think the party members enjoyed the contest. They enjoyed, listening to debates and asking us questions, and it resolved itself. And Alan's the leader, and we have a good team now. We've 6 TDs. Obviously, we'd like more, but we've 5 senators. So that kind of makes us kind of a fighting force for the next period of time. And also we're actually quite a young parliamentary party, because outside of Brendan Howland, the longest serving TD is actually Sean Sherlock, who got elected in 2007. So we're quite a younger parliamentary party than we have been for a while.
You've done a lot of work over the years, and I interviewed you recently about direct provision centres, and the Examiner has been doing marvellous work in terms of highlighting figures. Some of the figures that released this week is Stompool, if that's the correct way of pronouncing it, Stompool Investments, running the Ursuline complex in Waterford. From 2004 to 2018, that's over a 14-year period, 21,267,420 euros they got. That's approximately 1.5 million a year. And the other figures are even more larger. Mosney Irish Holidays PLC getting up to 140,000 over an 18-year period. 140 million, sorry. Can I just ask you, I know we're not going to be able to talk about too much of the direct provision matters. Do you think that this has been money well spent?
No, it hasn't, because just as with everything in Ireland, we outsource it. It's interesting when what COVID is doing to this country. It's ripping maybe the plaster over how things are held together here, and exposing them. You know, the childcare system is held together by private operators. The care system for older people is held together by private operators, and the direct provision system is almost exclusively provided by private operators. And when you have somebody who has a profit motive involved in the system, it means that the state isn't the one who is driving the system, improving the system, overseeing the system as well as they possibly could do. And when you outsource it, every centre is going to have different standards. It's going to have a different dynamic going on, and that's not the way that we should treat the most vulnerable people in our country.
And I know you've been railing against this for years, and yet the system works, the government would say, in some respects, and that.
Well, it depends what you mean by works. And,
yes.
Look, we have about 4,500 people, but in these centres there was 37 of them when I was Minister of State. I suppose the difficulty we had, and it's outlined in the piece, is that the Department of Justice feel that any improvement in this area would be a pull factor for more people coming into the country. So when you have a department that has a security mindset, a law and order mindset, overseeing this entire area, that they don't have a sympathetic, empathetic, humanitarian viewpoint when it comes to overseeing the system. What they have is a sense that we improve this, we make this better, then we're just going to get more people in our system, and that's the difficulty I had in trying to improve the system. And the greatest disappointment I had at that time was when we commissioned the McMahon report, which was a compromise between the department and the various NGOs. If that had been implemented to the letter, well, then we would have had a better system, not the perfect system, and not the ending of a system which many people want, but certainly a more humane system. That report wasn't implemented to the letter. It became almost like a discussion document for the department, and that was extremely disappointing for me as a Minister of State at that time.
And do you think, Aidan, that people don't really care about this, that this is not a vote winner for the likes of the Labour Party? That I know it may be very good from a general point of view and talking about human rights, but really you're wasting your time with this.
I don't accept that. I mean, when I was down in Waterford with Ciara Conway, who was our TD
yes, I remember,
at the time. She brought me to two direct provision centres. I know I speak to John Pratt about it regularly. It's something that people expect of the Labour Party, that we would campaign and care about this issue. I think it is one of the issues of our time that in years to come, in 10, 15 years' time, that people will speak of how did we not look behind these high walls? How did we not ask more questions about these centres and what was going on in them? Because there's children growing up in these centres. And for people can appreciate now, maybe when they're locked in their own homes, if you were growing up in a hotel, if you were spending 5, 6, 7, 8 years of your life there as a child, if you couldn't bring somebody home to play, couldn't bring somebody home to do homework with them, how would you feel? And it's this constant sense of not knowing the limbo scenario that children had and families had. So we did manage to get 1,500 people out of the system. The long stay element has more or less moved away. There was 8, 9, 10 years of people staying in the system. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Yes.
But it is a scar on the conscience of many people in Ireland. But I suppose when you had a high housing crisis, an economic crisis, an unemployment crisis, now a COVID situation, it can drop down the priority list. But certainly, I think Irish people have, they're decent people who believe in fair play, and certainly when they investigate the direct provision system, they don't feel that it's fair, they don't feel that it's right. And I think not just in terms of direct provision, but other areas of Irish life, we have to stop outsourcing them to private operators. We have to demand that the state take ownership of these problems and provide the solution for these problems.
And can I ask you, regarding COVID, do you think the state is putting enough care and attention into potential COVID outbreaks in direct provision centres? I know there have been strenuous efforts made, they would say, to make sure that if there's any cases, people are moved into other areas. There's a restructured model being observed to ensure no more than 3 non-related residents are sharing a room. Is it working, do you think, at present?
But if you demand of people to live at close quarters and something like this comes to your shore, then it just, I suppose, exposes the poverty of your mindset. If you're demanding that people, co-live as is the new housing model across the country, if you demand of children to live in homeless hubs, living on top of each other, if you demand of people to live in direct provision centres and a number of people to a room, and then something like this comes, but then the dignity and the right for having your individual life experience and being able to close your door at night and not affording that to people, then that's exposed. So I would hope that after this we would demand a better standard of living for people. We had all sorts of cries during the housing crisis for people for beds to come back on stream, for co-living, as I've mentioned. We have to have better standards for ourselves and for our people. And I would hope that if any good comes out of this crisis, and it's difficult to think of good when you have 1,000 people who've already died from it, is that the standards to be set for ourselves and for living for our people will be an awful lot better into the future.
Aidan O'Riordan, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Aidan. Good to talk to you. Damien, I'm glad somebody brought up about the teachers. We are all in this pandemic together. We have had to take huge wage cuts. Teachers are not doing what they should be doing, is teaching, says this texter. Another person is saying the teachers are doing a great job. Texter saying school teachers are making lesson plans to send out weekly to students, in addition to doing individual check-in calls over video call and phone call. Another texter just wondering, here's a good one. Just for the person who was wondering what teachers are doing. I'm a primary teacher and I'm teaching virtually online from 9 a.m. every weekday morning until at least 4 or 5 every day. Giving feedback on tasks to children, recording classes so that children can access Zoom when they can, having Zooms to allow the class to catch up and say hello to each other, trying to ensure that children are continuing to keep busy to protect them from worrying about what's going on in the world, and also making sure they don't get too much to make them worry about schoolwork. We still also have regular staff meetings online to make sure we're meeting the needs of our children. And I've been helping both colleagues and my own school and teachers in other schools to train up using online teaching platforms. I'm teaching on several different platforms to suit all the needs of the 33 children in my class. And the person goes on, we are also having to figure out how a virtual graduation for the 6th class might happen, who won't get a send-off when they're expecting at the time of the year. Thanks to WLR for being my background noise during the school days. I find it very weird to teach in a silent room. It would be unnatural. That's a really good text in from Laura, I think it is. And if Laura wants to come on, we'll certainly like to talk to her, because I'd love to talk to teachers about this. I think it would be good to talk about this, because maybe it's a case that there are some teachers that are doing all the work that you're talking about, Laura, and others are saying that the teachers are not doing what they should be doing. Another texter, I'm a teacher. I'm not a teacher. But why does it bother people what somebody else is doing? People just like to be nosy. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I think you could be right on that. What about direct provision centres? They aren't overcrowded and they are being treated correctly, taking all the precautions, and ask people that they're happy before assuming. Don't tar all with the same brush. says this texter. Michael has phoned into 051846123 to say when all this is over, the pubs should close at 11 and the chippers at 10 o'clock, so there'll be less trouble. So Michael's already thinking of this. Lots of people coming in, texting, phoning and texting about happy birthday to Mary Cummins in Sleeve-Rue. Lots of love from Nora, Dennis and family. A caller from Lemmy Bryan says, on Sunday she was out walking her dog and 2 cars stopped to ask her how they'd get onto the Waterford Road. They were trying to avoid the checkpoint at the Apple Green Garage, where there's normally checkpoints. She's seen an increase on the road, most of them probably trying to avoid the Gardaí, but probably some of them up to no good, says this person. And I had another good text in from a person to say, I'd love to know, says this person, how many people have been fined the 2,500 for being outside the 2 kilometre area? Probably none. Some guards are not doing what they should be doing. I could tell them I'm going for an ice cream and they'll wave me on. I haven't broken any rules. I'm sacrificing myself, my family by working 41 and a half hours a week. Yet people can roam around with no guilt. If I was a guard and ask for proof, i.e. a receipt from where they've gone for their so-called essential shop, guards need to wake up and they need to enforce this a lot more. If I see anyone breaking the rules this weekend, I'll personally report them to the guards. Stay at home, says that texter. Ooh, very, very strong, very irate. Waterford News and Star is out. The Munster Express is out. If you're in a shop at all today, please, please, please support local journalism, and the Dungarvan paper is coming out later on today and tomorrow. Next, we want to know about your thoughts on the Rose of Tralee. We're going to be talking to Vicky. The Rose of Tralee. What about Daithí? What's Daithí going to do now? Now, the teachers are revolting. I'm a teacher. I'm working harder than ever trying to adapt to a virtual classroom, ensuring students are being catered for. We've numerous staff meetings. We are now video calling. Leaving Cert students are trying to put their minds at ease. Makes me very frustrated, people giving out about teachers when they haven't a clue the work we're doing. Another texter, why are teachers an easy target? My sister's a teacher. She's working, developing lesson plans and creating homework. She's sitting at her kitchen table during school working hours. Most people criticising teachers are probably on the $350 a week COVID payment. Now teachers are getting a little bit angry. They're getting angry, Vicky. Sounds like it. Sounds like it is, yeah. OK, what about this? Nathan Carter.
The pale moon was rising above the green mountain.
Come on, Vicky, sing.
The sun was declining beneath the blue sea when I strayed with my love to the pure crystal fountain that stands in the beautiful vale of Tralee.
They're all singing now. You can hear them. They're singing. They're singing in the background.
Rich memories there. Now listen to that song come back to me.
That's Nathan Carter, 2014. Yes, singing at the when the winner was announced. Vicky, thanks very much for joining us. Vicky Walsh.
Thanks for having me.
Not at all. You're very good. Waterford organiser of the Rose of Tralee Festival announced yesterday that it was going to be cancelled.
Yes, no big shock there.
Had you an idea? I presume you'd been in touch.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it wasn't a big shock. We were expecting the news. We didn't have much time to prepare for it because the news broke to the media about 15 minutes after we were notified. So there wasn't much time to process the information. But yeah, it's the right thing to do, definitely. Like we have to look out for the frontline staff and everyone's livelihoods. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it was the right decision to be made, and they have to follow the government guidelines.
As Waterford Rose organiser, what does it entail to be the organiser of a selection convention, I suppose, and an event for the Rose of Tralee?
Well, basically, there's 3 of us. It's not just me. It's Owen O'Neill and Stephen O'Rourke as well. So being the female, I would generally be the girl that would be related most to the girls that apply. So the way it works is the beginning is that the girl will apply on the roseoftralee.ie. If they say that they want to represent Waterford, whatever city or county, they will be sent to that email will be forwarded with their application to the provided centre. So with Waterford, I would receive it. I'd make contact with the girl saying, thanks very much, I got your application, and tell them about our upcoming plans for the year, when our selection is. Generally, the Waterford selection is in April. So our next planned selection is hopefully April 2021 now, as opposed to April 17th just gone. But yeah, we gather girls around. We do a few events in the coming months, basically from about launching it from January up until April. We have a few team events to build a little bit of camaraderie and team building, get the girls to know each other. So when it comes to the selection day themselves, they've got some familiar faces around them and they're not too intimidated.
Do you enjoy doing it? How long have you been doing it?
I love it. I do love it. I'm doing it since 2015. So Sarah Tobin was the 2015 Waterford Rose and Jenny Walsh took over from her. So my full relationship with Rose has started from 2016 onward. And then, of course, we had Chloe McGrath after Jenny, and then Kirsten Maté-Mar won the international title in 2018. So we haven't had a Rose since then because of a new system. But Kirsten was the first winner in 35 years for Waterford. So we're very, very happy with the outcome after only being part of it for such a short time. We're definitely in the right direction, approaching the right girls.
I suppose even if restrictions are lifted come September or the end of August to a certain degree, the organisers had to make a call on what to do now regarding the different getting together and...
Oh, absolutely. Like we had... as I said, the selection was due to be in April, but we had events coming up way before then. So, I mean, you have to use your common sense about it. You need to protect the community, and like on a worldwide scale, it is a global Irish community. It's an international festival. So in the grand scheme of things, the festival being cancelled wasn't a big surprise. But locally, you have to watch for your own, you know.
What about women that are listening to this morning and mammies and daddies who were hoping their loved ones were going to be going forward for this? There'll be disappointment.
Oh, naturally. We were all disappointed, particularly like the 17 girls that are already have applied that were going forward this year. But what we can say is that next year, the way the system is going is that next year's centres will be represented from this year. So there's a new system in place where there's 64 centres worldwide. There's 32 that are represented every year, basically to represent the original 32 counties in Ireland. So it was Waterford's year this year. So Waterford will go next year, and the girls that were to go in 2021 will now go in 2022. So that's the plan. It's the fairest way to do it. Everyone's just got a year of a timeout.
Are there any of those 17 that you know of that are at the age limit? What is the age limit again?
So it's 18 to 28. Now, there is a special exception for next year only. So the girls that are applying that, say from here on in, that will apply to be the Waterford Rose next year that are of that age limit, they have to be in that bracket. But there is a couple of girls out of the current 17 applicants that are at the upper age limit of that bracket. There is an exception for them. There's special permission granted for the next year only, but that has to require the girls that have already been applied and committed to this year.
Okay.
So no one's basically been left out. That's it.
That makes sense. It does make sense. What is Deise going to do now?
I'd say he'll be heartbroken. I'm sure he'll be fine. Sure, we'll all get over it. Deise does a lot for Kerry. He's a proud Kerry man, and I watched him yesterday on Mora and Deise, and he spoke so well about, you know, he was more empathetic to the locals of Tralee, and he made a few good points. He said that, you know, Killarney, Dingle, Kenmare, they have tourism all year round very exceptionally, but Tralee is only really strongly associated with that 1 week in August. So they're going to feel it, and I really appreciated that he was able to get that message across clearly, and I felt it for him because he's a Kerry man himself. So
there's also a financial thing there, as you say, with Kerry. That is one thing, and then also like the Tower Hotel would have a big night that'll be worth a few bob.
Yes.
It's worth a few bob. Like the organisers, I know you don't get paid, but you'd have a certain amount of I suppose recompense on the night itself. So there's a little bit of financial loss as well.
Oh, there will be. Yeah, I mean we just have to take that on the chin, like most other businesses as well. There's not much we can do there, like our hands are tied, and you know the bigger picture is people's health, so you know we'll get over that. It's
the first time ever?
Yeah, in 61 years, imagine. So like that would just highlight the absolute importance of it. You know, they are, you know, they're going with what they're being told to do, and it's for the right reasons. And I mean, what else can you do from it? You know, we're all at a little bit of a loss, but what they say that we're in this together, we're apart to be together. The sooner that this is over, the the sooner we can celebrate. And I've no doubt that next year, being at the Waterford Rose selection and the International Rose of Tralee will be absolutely stronger and bigger and better than ever, because everyone's going to make a team effort.
Some people texting in to say they should play the Father Ted episode that night. The lovely girls competition.
Yeah.
Do you like that episode?
I do, to be honest. I mean, come on, you have to laugh at it too. It's a bit of crack. Who doesn't like Father Ted?
Do you ever get any slagging still about the Rose of Tralee? People saying, go on. It's
yeah, you do. But look, each to their own. And, you know, some people say it's dated, but, you know, I personally think, like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But the numbers don't lie. There's 1 million viewers that tune in every single August to watch Daithí and the final interviews. There's 100,000 people that visit Tralee that weekend. There's the Dome can cater for up to 10,000 people for events over the 5 days that it's on. You know, love it or hate it, people still tune in and they turn up. So, you know, that's what I would have to say to it. You know, take it with a pinch of salt. But if you're any interest in a bit of crack agus ceol, go to Tralee that weekend. Or even the week. But I'm personally obviously biased. But yeah, that's my answer for that.
And they talk. The first thing is the dresses. They look at the dress. Oh, does that suit her? That doesn't suit.
I look at what girl doesn't like getting dressed up in a goona and having an owl excuse.
Maybe the odd boy as well.
Look, that's allowed too now, you know. Can't discriminate.
Tell me, what do you do yourself?
I own a beauty salon down in Spring Garden Alley, so it's called Natural Beauty. I opened it in 2015, the same month that I started the coordinating for the Waterford Rose of Tralee. And at the time, I was also doing a column for My Waterford. So juggling a lot of balls in the air, but I've got 2 out of 3 still going strong, so I can't complain.
What have things been like now? Like,
it's different.
Completely closed?
Absolutely, yeah.
Were people ringing you up saying, can you come and do this? You can't, obviously.
No.
You can't do anything. Like,
not at all.
Know.
People are we have a little bit of camaraderie, like I miss you, and, you know, women are getting hairy or whatnot. But, you know, sure, that's the truth of it.
There's hair growing in parts that wouldn't normally be growing, is it?
So look, no. It is different.
Would you encourage women to do hair removal themselves?
No, we're going off track now, Damien. Like, we're not going to go there.
Oh, we're not? Go on. Tell us about your own hair. Tell us about generally, like, women, because we've discussed this and it's been a major, like, what have you been doing? Because some hairdressers have been in touch and some beauty salon people have been in touch. Don't try this at home. Whereas others are saying, you could try a little bit. What's your thoughts on it? I
personally wouldn't, and I'm not. Besides, like, you know, I'm in a privileged position that I can do, you know, personal, you know, nails and whatnot. But for the hair on my head, I have high regard for my hairdresser and I wouldn't doubt her, and I wouldn't like to. But a lot of people are saying, you know, you can end up doing extra damage by doing it yourself. Like, I personally wouldn't have a notion where to start with the hair on my head. So I will just suck it up. I've seen a lot of shaven heads going around with men, though.
Yes, quite a lot of that. And a lot of very distraught women as well, and men, but women in particular, and older women. I was talking to one woman the other day and just really upset about the fact and that social thing of not being able to go to the hairdressers. And it
is the small things. I definitely miss socialising. I miss people, you know, like, but sure, what else can we do?
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be a few restrictions now on May 5th, but I don't think that there'll be many. You know, it looks like to be more that people that are working outdoors will be allowed out. But
and you want to say hello to all your clients and all your customers? I
do, particularly everyone out in Ardkeen. My mum is a nurse out there, and Imelda Walsh, and well, I have to mention now Dad is in Walsh Print. Shameless plug, but just so proud of them, you know, for the selfless acts that they're going out there every day, putting their own lives at risk, and it's very commendable, and we salute them. So that's what I would like to say if there's any shout outs to be given.
Listen, Victoria, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Not at all. It's a pleasure, and good luck for next year, and we'll give you as much publicity as we can, okay?
Much appreciated.
And take care.
All the best.
Now, in a minute, I'm going to be talking to Claire O'Sullivan, manager of Tintán Housing Association, appealing for provisions for homeless people. So keep in touch about that. And if you want to write down the number, have a pen ready. It's our text number is 083 33 975. Text or WhatsApp, or you can call Audrey on 051 846 123. I was over at Spar in Kilcohen yesterday evening, says this person. There were no less than 15 teenagers about in different groups. Next thing, the guards drive past. Another texter. Good morning. I'm not a teacher, but I do have a girl doing a Leaving Cert, and I have to say the teachers in her school have been fantastic. They have a full day on Zoom, 9 to 4, and class all day. She would have her breaks just like she would as if she was in school, and yesterday evening all the teachers sent a video of the Leaving Cert classes. It was just lovely to see the teachers given a COVID 2020 class, a little lift to all the girls and keeping the girls' spirits up. It means a lot to the class. I was even in tears when my daughter showed me the video, and all the students are working very hard. I got a lovely message on Facebook about I think it was the water park teachers did this little video compilation as well, and Joe Hagan is a Leeds fan. I didn't know that, so my estimation of him has gone down dramatically in the last few hours. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you keeping?
Great. Not bad at all now. Surviving and keeping very busy, as you can imagine.
You are manager of Tintón, the Housing Association. Just explain to our listeners, please, what is Tintón?
I will, no problem at all. So Tintón is actually in existence since 1999. It is providing accommodation with support to women who are homeless in Waterford City and County. We also provide emergency family accommodation scattered throughout the city. So this was at a time, I suppose, when there was always hotels and B&Bs used. We worked with the local authority very closely to actually set up houses just scattered throughout the community for these families instead of having them in hotels and B&Bs. So we also house people long term. So we're an approved housing body, but we're also a homeless charity.
Okay. What is the situation at present? What are you appealing for?
Okay, so right now, on top of our existing service, that is pretty much running as normal. Obviously, we have staffing is staggered somewhat, and we obviously have all the social distancing in, but we do have a residential service as well. So obviously that's still open. Our staff are still all working. But on top of that, we're also working in partnership with the HSE and the local authority. They've approached us and asked us to manage a new dedicated centre here in Waterford City that is going to be set up. We're in the process of it at the moment, so that people who are homeless around Waterford and also throughout the southeast, who are homeless and are required to self-isolate by their GP, whether they are suspected COVID-19 or confirmed, will actually be transferred to this dedicated centre so that they can actually be looked after in a very safe way. They will each have their own bedroom with their own ensuite facility, and it will be staffed. So we're in the middle of doing a recruitment drive at the moment. We've just hired shift attendants, and we're in the process now of recruiting project workers to also work there. So I suppose what this will do is allow our homeless facilities that are in existence throughout the region to continue operating as they normally do. It will also allow them to continue to take in referrals, because obviously if you're looking at a residential service having a number of people who are COVID-19 suspected or confirmed, you're looking at the whole service essentially being locked down and not able to accept referrals. So we need to keep our homeless services for what they're meant to be for. So this way people will be transferred out, and this is the dedicated service.
Okay, so you're recruiting for it now, for this hub. So what do you want people to do?
So one of the main things, I suppose, we realise in Tintón, like we really feel that for our service users and for those in the homeless population who can be very much outside of the community and experience a lot of stigma, we've really in Tintón found great community support for us in all the different events that we've held over the years and so on. So what we're appealing for now is that community, if they can help us with donations. So what we're asking for is people that will be coming to us, they may not have sufficient pyjamas, underwear, socks, slippers, toiletries. So that is for adult men and adult women. We're asking if anybody would have the underwear and the socks and everything, the pyjamas really would need to be new. If anybody can help us out, if there's any shops listening that can help us out in this way. So that, because dignity is a huge thing. So a lot of our service users have experienced trauma in the past. They're coming to us from a very traumatic past as it is. So that human connection and that dignity is hugely important. We really need to make sure that we're keeping that going for them.
Okay.
Then if there's things like baby wipes, toothpaste, toothbrushes, that sort of thing. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to put together something called distraction packs for people. So obviously, things can be very boring. I mean, lots of people, we're working in the homeless services, but we're aware of people saying, God, it's trying to find things to do to pass the time. Well, it's going to be very difficult for people who are coming from homelessness to ask them to stay inside in that room for the majority of the time. So they need stuff to do to break the boredom. So what we're asking for there is if people have crossword puzzle books or word search books, Sudoku puzzle books, or even, the adult colouring books and colouring pencils, quizzes, that sort of thing, and a wide variety of actual books. So if they have any of those things that could be donated as well, we would be very, very grateful.
OK, and what do people do, Claire? How do they get in touch with you?
OK, so what we're saying is for now that things can actually be dropped to our main office, which is in 25 Virginia Crescent in Hennessy's Road. And I'm going to give you the office number there as well. So if people are querying what sort of things we are accepting and we are looking for, they can call the office on 051 844 076.
Okay, 844 076, and we'll put that detail up on the website. Claire, thank you so much and continued great work. You do really, really good work. Fair play to you.
Thank you very much, and we're very grateful to you as well for the help in this. Thanks so much, Damien.
Not at all. Claire, mind yourself. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Claire O'Sullivan there, manager of Tintán Housing Association. That number again, 051 844 076. A lot of texts coming in. If I don't get to them all, apologies. I think WLRFM should get a prize for all the coverage and up to date you're doing. Just want to say well done and keep up the great work from Thomas in West Waterford. Thomas, that's one of the loveliest texts that anybody's ever sent in. Thank you very much. Another texter, I can't understand why government jobs are on full pay when the rest of the people are on COVID 350. Another texter, here's one, says that some teachers' salaries should be cut in half and they should be made go and work in a testing facility or help out in essential services. Whereas another person says, I think the teachers are doing amazing. I'm trying to do some form of schoolwork with my children and some days it can be torture doing even 20 minutes. It has made me so grateful for our teachers and our schools. People saying that they are really, really, really very generous with the teachers and really so happy and proud of the teachers. Many teachers are teaching online all day, virtual classes, staff meetings, says this other texter. Another person, get a grip and cop on. Why is everyone giving out about the teachers? The teachers are doing a great job, says this texter. So, before we take our next piece, people had asked, a Viewmount resident said, can you please thank the manager and staff of Dunn Stores on her behalf? They've gone above and beyond the call of duty to help her while she's been cocooning. She can't get over their kindness to her. Yes, thank you very much for that. And Angela also phoned in to say we should have another election. This is not the government people voted for, and they need to remember only for Sinn Féin's transfer votes, some of them would not have been elected. So before we move on to our next item, do you remember this? Father Ted, Rosa Tralee.
And now, walking. Oh, look at them there. Walking along. Look out there, Mary. Doesn't Mary have a lovely bottom?
Careful there, Ted. That might offend the girls.
Right. Of course, they all have lovely bottoms.
Now, Catherine Foley is going to be on the line in a second, and I'm not going to be able to read out all those comments about teachers because I've really hit a raw nerve this morning. It's phenomenal the amount of teachers that are texting in. Damien, my daughter's teacher, Sean Prendergast, teaching 6th class in Lismore, sending out plenty of work, revision every day, including a test on Friday, giving feedback, email, doing a great job. Others texting about teachers doing great jobs. Some people giving out, saying that some teachers are not doing a great job. I was told about this radio discussion. I don't have the time to listen to radio or ring to discuss things because I'm work right now teaching my classes. I do online classes, voiceover recordings, ringing parents, constant corrections, writing out diagrams, putting in all different things. People will always think twice they've the right to judge teaching profession today just because they once went to school. People love to complain about something. Unfortunately for us teachers, it generally tends to be us. Donna, Irish and history teacher. Catherine, they're irate, aren't they?
Hello?
Hello, Catherine. Good morning.
Hello, Damien. How are you?
Good. Some teachers very angry there.
The line is very bad. I don't know what's happened today.
OK, well, we won't keep you too long. We want to give you a little mention. You're continuing to do your reading of The Breakwater at 5 p.m. on Facebook. It's lovely. It's been filmed by your sister, Roseanne Foley, and it started in mid-March. How have the figures been going, the viewers, and how's the response been going?
Yeah, it's been great response, and it's lovely. We're enjoying it. We were going to kind of wrap it up at Easter Sunday, but we had so many people watching us and getting in touch with us and telling us how they were, looking forward to it at 5:00 every day. So we took 3 days off at Easter after doing the recording on Easter Sunday, and we kept on then after 3 days. So we're kind of going to keep going until the end. Like there's a couple in New York watching us and come on live every day and give us little responses. Then there's a woman in Rome. I had let her know because she knew my aunt was a nun. This woman is a nun too. She's a nun in Rome, and she's elderly, and I thought she'd be interested, And then on Easter Sunday, after we're doing about 30 or so, I don't know how many days, we got a lovely little email from her to say, I'm listening to you every day. So things like that, especially with Italy, the way with the COVID-19 and the way they were shut down, we were thrilled. So we feel a responsibility now to kind of keep going. Friends are telling us, oh my God, and yesterday, coming up to Easter, because we knew we were wrapping up, I jumped ahead and I didn't read them in order, the chapters in the book, and I jumped ahead. So yesterday we said we'll put the right sequence in. So it wasn't live yesterday for the first time in a long time. And straight away people were saying, where were you, So we have to do it live.
That's lovely. So again, it's on your Facebook page. It's Catherine Foley, and it's because I'm so bad on Facebook. We started off putting it live on Roseanne's Facebook page, so it's on Roseanne's Facebook page, and then we put it up on YouTube as well, so that people can access it in case they're not on Facebook. Yeah, that's lovely. And
we get about 400-ish on average. It's hard to know between tweeting and putting it on YouTube and Facebook, but I'd say on average it balances out about 400 a day.
That's lovely. Well, we encourage anybody to go and have a look at it. Briefly and finally, Yvonne Boland, we can't go without giving her a mention. You met her once, did you?
I only met her once in the National Concert Hall. I was there reading for Sunday Miscellany. They have a Christmas concert.
Yes.
And she was just lovely. I was a bit starstruck. And my cousin was envious. She was in the audience, but she wasn't backstage, and she didn't get to meet her. And she christened her daughter Yvonne in honour of Yvonne Boland.
So
Deirdre was all excited. I think Yvonne was reading that night on stage as well. I've been searching my files to see, can I dig up the programme? But I met her briefly, and I was starstruck, I didn't meet her a lot in Dublin because she was working over in America. But I did meet her that night, and she was just very lovely and gracious and gentle, very down-to-earth woman, but quite intimidating too, I thought. You could see this kind of brain, she was no doll, she was completely intimidating in every way. Her brilliance kind of shone out from her, I thought.
Yeah, no, and untimely death, as you say.
Because she's so young, yeah.
Catherine, listen, mind yourself. Hello to Roseanne for me, and take care, and best of luck with the rest of the reading.
In touch with you. The line got better as we spoke on.
It's still a little bit crackly, as they say, but we'll listen.
Damien, can I just add? The book is nearly sold out from all the bookshops. It's not really available anymore, but I have copies if people want it. They just have to contact us through Roseanne's page, or if they wanted to email me.
Super.
Some people like to have the book itself.
Yeah, Beyond the Breakwater, yes. Catherine Foley, slán go fóil agus gur míle maith agad.
Slán go Damien, túr ar the tain, slán in it.
Slán go fóil, Catherine Foley there. Thank you very much, Catherine. Now, thank you everybody for your texts and comments. As I said, I won't be able to get through all the teachers' comments. Some very irate teachers, some people very irate at teachers. Can you please play the Father Jack comment when he was a judge on the wet t-shirt competition when he says, more water, brilliant. Any charity shops taking bags of clothes at the minute? Text us in, we'll let you know tomorrow. Keep your texts and comments coming in, we'll deal with them tomorrow. Thank you, Julie, for producing. Jeff is up next. Have a great and safe day. Stay safe.